Hello, class. I received a question concerning hypothesis tests for two population proportions. Specifically, I was asked, how do you find the test statistic? So let's take a look at the problem here. It says, conduct the following tests at the, looks like 10% level of significance. We're asked for the null and alternative hypothesis, then the test statistic, and then the critical value. So for the null and alternative hypothesis, looks like we're going to have P1 equals P2, and the alternative would be P1 does not equal P2. Let's check our answer, and we get a check mark. Great. Now for the test statistic, there's two ways we can go about this. The long way by hand would be to use the formula. Let me see if I can pull that up. The formula looks like this. Right, and all of this information was actually given in the problem, right? The sample size and everything, so we can come up with our proportions. Or we could use StatCrunch. Okay, so I'd like to use StatCrunch. I think that's going to be the best way to help you move through the exam. StatCrunch can really handle most of the heavy lifting. So let me open a StatCrunch window. Okay, here I am. So we're going to press Stat. Proportion stats, we have two samples, and the data we can use a summary. So it says number of successes and number of observations. So when I go back to the original problem, the first set here was 28 successes out of 255 observations. So I'm going to enter 28 and 255. And the other proportion was 36 out of 301. So we enter 36 out of 301, and we have the hypothesis test. Okay, we have our null and alternative. So I can simply press compute. And if you look down here, here is my test statistic, my z-stat, right? Here's my p-value and so on. So I believe we have to round to two decimal places, so I'm going to enter negative 0.36. And then we'll check our work to see if we are correct. What did I say? Negative 0.36. So, and now we can check our answer to see if we have the correct answer. And that looks good. We get the fantastic. Okay, now for the critical values, remember our level of significance was 0.10. So we can use this alpha equals 0.10 in a standard normal table, or we can use StatCrunch. I believe this is a two-tailed test, so I'm going to go back to StatCrunch. And now I'm going to press Stat Calculators, the normal curve, and my level of significance was 0.10. Right here's 0.10. So I'm going to put in 0.05, right? Because think of this as alpha over 2. Okay, right? So we had our z-score was negative 0.36, but we need z over 2. So I divided my level of significance by 2. And we get, oh, I put this in the wrong spot. I'm sorry. The 0.05 goes here. And now we compute. So remember, if this was a two-tailed test, you'd have this part shaded here, which would be the negative 1.644. But we'd also have a piece shaded here at positive 1.644. And this middle part would be empty. So if you notice, we have a chance to enter plus or minus. So it's really plus or minus 1.644. And I think we have to round to 3 decimal places, so 1.645. Let's try it. 1.645. I check my answer, and we get the excellent. Okay, and then remember, our test statistic was this negative 0.36. So we want to know, if I can pull this back up, does negative 0.36 fall in this area? or really in this area. If it does, then we would reject the null hypothesis. But this actually does not fall into any of the red area, right? And remember, imagine that there's a red area that looks exactly this size and shape going to the right. So the negative 0.36 doesn't fall in either of the red area, so we do not reject. I check. Boom. Good job. Thank you for watching.